let's get into our weekly update. All right, so it's been an interesting week. I'm double checking some things here on my monitor, make sure I'm hitting all my notes. Interesting week this week. This is taper week number 1 for the Halfway to the Holidays Marathon, which we already talked about. And so last Saturday would have been a long run, but I'm not doing long runs right now as I lean into this taper and trying to take the taper serious. I will say that I have the least amount of pain going into, like, residual training pain going into a marathon that I've ever had for a marathon. My first marathon, I had some very, I don't know if severe, but I had some very, I didn't think I'd finish my first marathon. I had some pretty serious pain in my right IT band, my outer knee. Don't think I had anything going into my winter half. I may have had some left hip problems going into that. I can't remember. And then going into the Buffalo Marathon, I was having these weird, like, shin splint / calf pains, as well as some inner thigh pain. So right now, my biggest issue is I'm having a little bit of right groin pain. So, and I think that's because I keep going too hard on some of these runs and too hard too long. But last Saturday I did 5 miles. I put in here fast because I think it would have been in the 9. It was sub 10, which for me at marathon pace, that's way too fast for me to be running at all. But I did it. Felt good. I felt great, and that's part of the problem with this. And then on Sunday, I did 6.6 miles. I don't have a note here, so I think that was just an easy run. I want to say it was like a 11-minute pace, just taking it easy. And then Monday, I'm in a steps challenge at work, so I'm trying to get a bunch of steps. And on Monday, I did a 3.5-mile walk, followed by Tuesday, I did a 4-mile run at a 10-minute per mile pace. And this was another fast one. And keep in mind, I'm supposed to be tapering at this point. And I realized after Tuesday that I need to chill. Like, I mentioned this on my live feed with, because Craig Lewis asked me how my training was going. And I'm like, I'm in what should be the easiest part of my training, and it's the hardest for me. And that's the taper, because I want to keep going. Leading up to my first marathon, I ran 10 miles on my bad IT band like 6 days before the marathon. And the guy who got me to sign up for it was like, no. And going into Buffalo, I was like, I need to give myself 2 weeks. And I was very happy that I took those 2 weeks. And here I am, like a week and a half out from this marathon, running 10-minute mile, 4-mile runs, like really pushing myself. And I just needed to chill. And luckily, I want to say luckily, I'll talk about air quality here in our news segment, but thankfully, the air quality from the wildfires in Canada really deteriorated over the last week, and being out and running would not have been a good idea. So Wednesday, I was sore from the 4-mile run on Tuesday, and I did a 3.5-mile walk, did the same thing on Thursday, and that day, I shared this on socials, that day specifically, the air quality, I get these air quality index notifications, and the scale is a 0 to 500. And I don't know what the air quality is normally. I have no idea. But the day that I went out, it was in the 200s, and I was like, wow, that's actually, I think it was in the 190s, to be honest. And when I was out there walking with no intention of running, I was like, I couldn't run in this. If you've ever been sitting by a campfire, and you had the wind blow towards you, and if you're in that situation, usually what people do is they'll kind of like close their eyes because it burns, and then they'll hold their breath for a minute and wait for the wind to shift, and then it blows away from you. But if it keeps blowing on you and you're just like, you're in the smoke, you'll grab your chair, pick it up, and move it to a different spot. And what walking on Thursday was like not being able to get your chair out of the smoke. It was like my eyes itched a little bit. It smelled pretty bad, and I did feel it in my chest. I don't have asthma or anything, but I could definitely feel the air quality, and you could see it too. I mean, I had a picture on Instagram of what it looked like. It's not good, man. It was definitely not good. And I'm going to talk about that air quality thing in our news topic, but I wanted to bring it up here because it really did affect my week of running, and I'm thankful that I wasn't in a heavy training period, because if I had been in a heavy training period, that would have been a problem. It would have been a problem. I don't think I would have been able to take deep breaths. It would have been tough. It definitely would have been tough. So basically what my week looked like was running too fast Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then basically actually I should say Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, and then walking Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm basically down to just walking. And the only reason I'm doing the walking, I probably shouldn't be doing anything but stretching and lifting. But the reason I'm doing the walking is I'm in this steps challenge at work, and if I win it, I can get a $100 gift card. So I won it last year. I intend to win it again this year. I am behind. So last year I won it with it's a 30-day challenge, and I won it last year with 700,000 steps in 30 days. Now, that was because, in large part, they did this during the 30 days that I ran my first marathon last October. Well, it was September into October. And so, unfortunately for the other competitors, you might say, I had 56,000 steps on one day. That's tough to beat. But I do remember 600,000 steps being kind of the range to win. So I'm in that ballpark. I'm probably going to just be under 600,000. I haven't checked it recently. I was on pace for 600,000 until, I want to say the beginning of, I don't know, I had a day last week or maybe the end of this week where I didn't even clear 10,000, which is very rare for me. I average anywhere from 15 to 18,000 steps a day. So what I do during these steps challenges is my normal running work routine, and then I'll throw in some steps here and there at work, or I'll add some extra steps after my run or before my run. In this case, I'm in a taper, so I'm actually supposed to be reducing my steps, but here I am increasing them. So, but anyway, my takeaway this week from the training block, as I go into kind of really just a half a week of taper, but I put on my notes, it's weird how tapering feels like a weakness or failure on a daily basis. Like, for me, this is one of the hardest parts of training. It's like, I don't know if it's my anxiety or the fact that I love the run so much, or what causes this, but when I don't run, I feel like I failed somehow. And it's not a healthy thing. I got to work through that. And I'm actually planning after, so this week I have my marathon next week, I have my marathon on Saturday. The following Sunday, I have a 10K. After that, I'm planning to dial back the running quite a bit. I may get into some mobility and lifting for a couple of weeks, because I think I saw someone else posted, it'll be around just over 90 days at that point to the Marine Corps Marathon, and I want to really take advantage of like a recovery period of like 3 to 4 weeks, an ease into a training block, and then an ease out of it. I want to, this last training block was 9 weeks, and 2 of those weeks had to be like, I'm trying to think of the word and I can't think of it. 2 of those weeks are this taper, and it was hard to even taper because of it. And so really 7 weeks training, it's not enough for a marathon. It's one of the reasons they say you should only do like 1 or 2 marathons a year. I'm dumb. I just keep doing them. So whatever. But yeah, that's my takeaway, is that this is the hardest part of marathon training for me, is just dialing it back and believing that all this training is going to lead to, and combined with the recovery, will lead to a better result than just keep on running. So we'll see how that goes. I will say, like I said, I do feel better than I have going into my previous ones. I do plan to dial back even more the walking and the steps midway through this upcoming week, and then the marathon is on Saturday. So yeah, that's kind of like the week summary.
No quit, no quit, no quit. Building their wall, while they talk about us, all they talk about us. Educated, experienced, still not credible, so we embraced it. Now we're uncredible.